Hey RuneScape enthusiasts, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the ultimate Alt-1 AFK Warden guide, your ticket to low effort and AFK combat in RuneScape 3. Let's get right into it. Now before we go any further, you might be wondering, is it safe? Well, the safety of your account is a top priority, so let's address that concern right away. Alt-1 isn't officially endorsed by Jagex, but they have confirmed that the way it operates doesn't currently go against their terms of service, and therefore it's unlikely that its use is a bannable offence. Keyword, unlikely. Just a bit of a disclaimer there. Unlikely. Let's talk about the benefits. So why should you consider integrating the Alt-1 toolkit into your RuneScape routine? Well, for starters, it's got a cursor overlay, so if you're using two monitors and you don't have the sound turned on for whatever reason, if you're working on your second monitor and you have RuneScape on your other monitor and an alert pops off, instead of making a noise, it'll display the overlay where your cursor is on your screen, so eliminating that need to have that noise, just in case you don't have a headset and your computer can't make a lot of noise. It also has the voice alerts, and it also has the noise or the alarm alerts. I use a mixture of all three personally, and this is really good, especially when I can't have my headset on and I can rely on the cursor overlay, or when I'm not at my computer at all and I'm AFKing and I can have my wireless headset on while I'm washing the dishes, or while I'm changing a nappy, for example, or taking the trash out, and I can still hear those alerts. Now, for those eager to get started, you can find the download link in the description below. Go ahead and grab it. I'll wait right here. Quick interruption, folks. I see a lot of you watching who haven't subscribed yet. Actually, 97.3% of you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribing really helps the channel, so hit that button and let's dive back into the content. With Alt-1 installed and AFK Warden fired up, let's explore its features and how it can make your RuneScape experience more relaxed and enjoyable. To save you some time, there are pre-made presets that you can explore, ranging from necromancy rituals all the way to Slayer and even crystal harps. Adding alerts is simple. Just head on over to the AFK Warden window and click the second button from the left, which is Add Alert. It's a little camera with a plus icon. Now let's move on to the exciting part. 12 different alerts to help you with combat in RuneScape 3 and their functions. To start things off, head on over to the AFK Warden window, click the Add Alert button, and we're going to go just below Basic Alert to Lobby Timer, and we're going to add that alert into our preset. So if we hit the settings button on the Lobby Timer alert, it's between the pause and close remove button. Let's have a look and see what it does here. So alert after so many seconds, 270. Now the lobby timer used to be 5 minutes. I believe for some people it still will be 5 minutes, but if you are signed up to the Jagex account system, it will be 10 minutes, which is 600 seconds. So you can go ahead and change that to 570 in that. Now this is going to trigger a global alarm, which is a big loud ding to tell you 30 seconds before you're about to be lobbied. Second up, we have the loot beam function. So the loot beam function is based on the chat box reading alert. So it's going to sound the alarm when something of value is dropped on the floor by a monster or mob. Now this is subject to setting your in-game settings for your loot beam up correctly for the right amount, or whatever amount that you want to have it set up. Now let's just hit the settings icon and have a look at this, and as you can see here we have the the chat function and how it's working here. We definitely don't want to play with any of this, but just to give you a bit of a tour into how this works, it's obviously based off the color and certain words that are said in the chat box, and it will sound that alarm when that happens. Alrightio, next up we have the item level alert. So let's go on over and add that alert in. There it is there. Now this alert will keep track of the item level up messages in your chat box and triggers when an item reaches level 10. So you can actually change this to whatever level you want it to alert you for, whether it be level 9 or whether it be level 12 or 10 or whatever it needs to be. You can actually change that. So if we just have a look at the settings, I'm going to click the settings icon here, and we're just going to have a look, see how that works. And it's a basic chat setup here. We're not going to mess with any of this, as this is brilliant. Quite obviously you can change that to whatever you want, whether it be level 10 or level 2, it doesn't really matter. It will sound the global alarm, which is a loud ding to let you know that your item has leveled up to whatever level you have selected, and it's ready to either be siphoned or destroyed for components. Next up we have the familiar timer alert, and it's based off their buff bar tracker. So let's go in and add this alert in like so, and we're going to go to settings and just have a look at how this works. So it'll start bar, it will sound the global alarm, which is a loud ding, at 0 seconds. So when your familiar dies, you'll hear the ding and it will start the bar. So the timer here will start and it will slowly build up all the way across until like over 120 seconds until it hits 0, and then it'll sound the global alarm when your familiar dies. Next up we have the HP alert, and this is quite simple here, so let's add this in like so. Radio. Now let's go to the settings icon and have a look at it. So you can obviously change this to prayer, adrenaline or summoning, whatever, but let's just stick with this, keep it simple. The threshold is 20% of full, so at 20% or lower, once that is lower than 20%, which you can change for higher if you want to stick around a certain amount of HP. You surely can do that. You just need to set another HP alert up for higher or for lower, so that way if you drop too low, you can eat some food. And you can obviously change the threshold here, and this will trigger the global alarm, which is a loud ding if it falls below the threshold percentage that you have set. And now we're going to be looking at the prayer alert, which in essence is exactly the same as the HP alert. Let's go ahead and add that one in like so, and then hit the settings icon once you've done that. Obviously prayer points lower, threshold of 20%, so it's totally up to you what you want to set that at, and when it falls below the threshold of whatever you've set it as, it'll trigger the global alarm. And last but not least, in our standard array of alerts, we have cannon decay. So let's go ahead and add that one in like so. Yep. Now let's quickly click the cannon decay. Yep, the settings icon here. And this is a basic text, and this is just going to alert you when your cannon is almost delayed. So basically when this pops up in the chat, it will tell you, so that way you can run over and click your cannon and get another 20 minutes or 25 minutes added to the timer. And now we're on to our bread and butter alerts of our AFK Warden sandwich. So let's just go in here and have a look. We click the add alert, and then we hit the basic alert, which is the first one highlighted. Hit add alert, and here we have a plethora of different things that we can add in. I'm not going to go through all of these, otherwise the video would be 25 minutes long and it just really isn't necessary. We're going to stick to the main ones for AFKing slayer mobs and bosses and stuff like that. So The first one we're going to talk about is the chat box. The chat box can be used for so many different things. When Necromancy first came out and there were no presets for it, I made my own Necromancy setup, and this was for the 3 mil plus an hour XP rates. But yeah, that I was getting using that, and then it was a hell of a lot easier than relying on my eyes to spot those little events that were popping up on the ritual site. But you can use this for so much stuff. I also used it to make my own darkness alert, which was really handy for AFKing bosses early on. And you can play around with this, read all colors. It'll like find the colors in the chat, different colors of the different pop-ups and alerts that come along through the game, and you can add the text in here. You want to change this to 100, don't leave it at 0, because that just means that when it happens, bang, it'll happen. When the chat pops up, it'll alert you straight away. Text colors, you just add, click to pick a color, you'll find the color, you'll click it, and then you'll hit Alt-1 to confirm that color. Next up we have the buffs alert. So if we go to add alert, basic alert, buffs. Yeah. Now that we've added that, we're just going to click on the settings icon. Just a little bit of disclaimer here. I really don't enjoy the way this works, and the reason why is because your buff bar has to be set to the smallest icon. Otherwise it won't read it properly on the screen and it won't alert you for anything. And this is including the summoning familiar the familiar timer alert that we've previously looked at in this video. It occasionally works with the familiar timer, but if you're setting your own buffs, you won't be able to see the buffs at all. It'll just come up saying no buffs visible on your screen. And of course it'll start the bar at 150 seconds and it'll alert you 10 seconds before it runs out. It'll sound the global alarm, which is a big ding, and you'll hear that. The next alert we're going to talk about is the dialog box alert. So let's go add alert, basic alert, dialog box, add alert, and we'll just have a quick look in the settings here. Now, alerts you when any chat dialogue with a continue button appears. This can be used to trigger on inventory full messages. Keep in mind that this is alerter will only be able to find the chat box when it shows on your screen. It might lag until the first detection. So I've never really had that issue with it, but the only thing that I use it for is a full inventory. That is the only thing I use it for. So, and it'll trigger the global alarm when you've got a full inventory. Next up we have our target death alert. So let's go ahead, basic alert, add that alert in like so. Let's hit the settings icon. This alert triggers when your target dies, more or less. This is great for AFK Kerapac. I just find it really useful for Kerapac, and if you would like to use it at any other boss that you're AFKing, you can. Just depending if you don't trust the loot beam alert, you can use this alert as well, just to check to make sure you haven't missed any drops. You can use this, it'll just trigger the global alarm. Now last but not least, summoning. Now you're gonna laugh at this. Let's head in to add an alerter, basic alert, add alert, summoning. Now it's not very descriptive, and I really wish I found this a lot earlier on. It would have helped out with the Hellhound and the Blood Reaver quite a fair bit at Kerapac. So, especially when I was recording and testing a bunch of AFK methods for Gregovich and Kerapac and Raksha. So, yes, but triggers when your familiar gets low HP. Familiar HP 30% or lower. So this is subject to you've got to have the familiar tab in your layout somewhere. It has to be visible in your layout somewhere. If you've got it behind your inventory tab, it won't work. It has to be visible for it to work properly. It's quite a handy little alert. So let's just have a look at the settings here and how this works. Now this is a standalone for me HP. 30. You just change the threshold to whatever you would like it to be. I would suggest 30%. 30% is pretty good. And it triggers the global alarm when it falls below the threshold. Now let's talk about managing your setups efficiently. So we go over to the AFK Warden window and click the little floppy disk icon, which is fourth from the left. Now, as you can see on mine, I have Gen for General, Karapak, Raksha, Zuck Normal Mode. These are all imported presets that I got from Igor's presets, which I'll talk about next. But if you would like to save your own that you've just made, you quite simply just hit save as, name, we'll just call it test for now, confirm, and there it is right there. The pencil button will allow you to edit this preset, which is just the name of the preset. Load the preset here, export this preset, so you hit export. All you do is you copy all of that text and you can send it to a friend, or you can use it, put it on GitHub, whatever you need to do, and obviously delete preset. Now, for those of you who want a head start, Igor's presets are a game changer. Igor's presets helps PvM beginners who want to learn new bosses by reducing the time and resources spent going to Death's office through calling out mechanics during boss encounters. Incredibly handy. I wish I knew about Igor's presets when I first started using Alt-1. It would have got me into bosses like Karapak, Raksha, and even Zuck a lot faster than normal. Now we scroll down here, he even has voiceovers, so instead of hearing the global alarm ding, you will hear Protox's voice, RS Guy, and Wazzy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but you'll have the voiceovers instead of the ding, which is incredibly awesome. I find it a hell of a lot more simplified to have the voiceovers, because you're not freaking out thinking that you're below 20% HP because everything dings and you don't know what it is dinging about. So, and as you can see here, voice pack, bunch of different monsters. Even Zamrock, like, I didn't even know he did a Zamrock, but look at all the stuff he's got here for callouts. Like, it's excellent, absolutely excellent. And then you got the Zuck normal mode guide. Oh, makes life 100 times easier. And the wave by wave info cards, these are really, really cool, extraordinarily cool, especially if you've never done Zuck before. They're very, very cool. You can find a link in the description to streamline your setup even further with Igor's presets. Thanks for joining me today on this almost 20-minute long journey. If you found this guide helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more RuneScape content, and don't forget to check out Igor's presets below. They are an absolute game changer. They really, really are. Until next time, happy scaping.